How's it going, guys? Cody back again. Taking a few days off, guys. Just having a bit of downtime, recharging my batteries and everything like that. Few people have reached out thinking I was either back in prison or something. No, not back in prison. Just absolutely just when you're doing videos so consistently, and I've got, obviously people see the YouTube side, they don't see what I do away from YouTube and stuff. And I've been setting up interviews for a serving prisoner, which I'm going to cover in a minute, getting out stories and everything, interacting with people. And I just want to take some downtime. So yeah, I've just been relaxing and had a few days off. I'm back, guys. As you can see from the title of this video, this is a story that I'm covering because I live local to where this depraved paedophile lived. And what I've decided I'm going to start doing, I'm going to start lighting paedophiles up as well on the channel. I know you guys like it because for the feedback on the other videos, namely Sebastian, Cosmin, Bonta. Let's get into it, guys. So this is a story in the Manchester Evening News, my local paper. Link in the description below, like I always do. Headline reads, depraved paedophile groomed young girls online by offering them fake modelling jobs and then got them to send him sexually explicit pictures and videos. The youngest two victims were 12 years old at the time of the abuse. A depraved and prolific paedophile from Berry groomed young girls online by offering them fake modelling opportunities before getting them to send him sexually explicit pictures and videos. Daniel Berry, 31, the depraved paedophile you see at the start of the video, targeted teenage girls from across the country on social media and cunningly groomed them into his web of abuse. He manipulated them, as many as 16 teenage girls, into sending him the most extreme sexually explicit pictures and videos from his Prestwich home where he lived with his parents. The girls, two of them as young as 12 years old, fell prey to Berry's lies as he threatened that he would come to their homes and sue their families if they refused. The abuse that spanned 2 years was systematic, as Berry followed the same method time and time again to lure in the girls. It was the worst case of child sexual abuse one investigator had ever seen in their career. His criminal offences took place between February 2017 and January 2019, when Berry was finally caught and arrested. Berry, described as depraved by Judge Tina Landale, has now been locked up after pleading guilty to 48 counts relating to the online grooming of underage girls. Berry of Bannerman Avenue, Prestwich, was sentenced on Wednesday morning in Minchell Street Crown Court to a custodial sentence of 13 years. He was also ordered to sign the sex offenders register for life. Berry set up three fake Facebook profiles on which he posed as a woman named Sarah, messaging girls to offer modelling opportunities as ways to earn millions of pounds, the court heard. Sarah then urged the victims to download the Kick messaging app, convincing the girls that they would be able to talk to the boss of the modelling agency. It was on the app that Berry, posing again as a man called Mark, would unleash his harrowing tirade of abuse, said Amanda Johnson, prosecuting. He would ask the underage girls from as far away as Scotland, Wales, Northumberland, Yorkshire, Kent, Sussex and Staffordshire, as well as a number in Manchester, to send him sexually explicit pictures and videos in exchange for money and modelling work. In many of the cases, Mark would pressure the girls into recruiting their friends into his personal network of victims, with them frequently being told to perform sexual acts on each other. One child was even coerced into recruiting her twin sister into the grooming setup. The abuse continued in hundreds of messages between Berry and his victims, in exchanges lasting anywhere from as little as 3 days to 6 months. Some of the girls were even told that they should meet up with Mark in London, with Berry saying he wanted to do drugs and have sex with them. Multiple victims disclosed to him that they were vulnerable at home. One told the paedophile that she was facing violence from her stepfather. Another said she was suffering with mental health concerns. When the girls made such a confession, Berry would use it against them, dangling money and job offers in front of them as a way to escape their worries. If the school-age girls began to question when the money would be coming, or if they refused any of Berry's demands, he would threaten them using his alter ego. Mark told the young victims that they and their parents would be sued for wasting the time and money of the fake modelling agency boss, and told them they would release the sexually explicit videos of them online. Some of the children told Berry that they had been admitted to hospital or had been injured in car crashes to escape his grip. Others tried deleting and blocking the Mark character on the Kik Messenger app. But each time this happened, the victims would be overwhelmed with messages from other social media accounts, including from Berry's first alias, Sarah, saying they would be prosecuted by the police if they did not respond to Mark. One of the frightened victims, who ranged in age from 12 to 15 at the time of their abuse, said she was scared that Mark was going to find her and kill her. The girls were terrified when police turned up at their doors to ask questions about their abuser and what they had suffered. But the 16 brave victims worked with the police to give evidence in the case, in which one forensic investigator called the worst case of child sexual abuse he had ever seen in his career. As Berry's horrific crimes were uncovered, the true nature of his depraved mind became clear. Since 2012, Berry had been accruing more than 5,000 pictures and videos on his laptop of children being sexually abused. These images were stored alongside pictures and videos he pressured his own victims into sending. Mitigating. How can you defend this? Mark Shanks said that Berry had, by all accounts, lived a completely normal life before his descent into abuse, holding down respectable jobs and engaging in relationships with age-appropriate women. As Berry entered guilty pleas, Mr. Shanks said he, Berry, has no previous convictions or warnings, having been of good character prior to this. He had a normal upbringing, a normal family unit, a normal employment history. Everything about him was normal. But this may work as a double-edged sword, as he lived this clandestine lifestyle in some respects. Mr. Shanks said, Mr. Berry had twice sought professional help for his desires that were not normal relating to underage girls, but had instead turned to self-medicating with drink and drugs to deal with the feelings which he knew were wrong. But it will have all reduced his inhibitions and taken off the handbrake when it came to dealing with these feelings, said Mr. Shanks. His family have simply disowned him. Understandably, we think. They do not want anything to do with him. Not surprised at all. Fair play to him. He does not think about the effect this had on the girls. Hold on. He does think about the effect, that it had on the girls, and he's extremely sorry. No, he's sorry he's been caught. He has asked me to say that he is very sorry if it means anything to the girls, which it may not, obviously. Judge Landale sentenced Berry to 10 years behind bars with a further 3 years to be served on licence. Berry also has now a lifelong sexual harm prevention order against him. She told Berry that his actions were the most depraved and horrific imaginable. You exploited and manipulated children into providing you with sexual images. You callously and deliberately offered preposterous amounts of money to secure compliance. When that did not work, you blackmailed and intimidated them because you exploited their youth and naivety. All of the girls were vulnerable because of their youth and age. A forensic examiner said they had never viewed material more distressing concerned with the sexual abuse of children than in this case throughout their whole career. These children were in their own homes when the offences took place, where they should be free from harm and safe. The only real mitigation is that your plea of guilty has saved these vulnerable children the ordeal of giving evidence in court. You are a man of previous good character, but that is of little mitigation, as you have been offending secretly since 2012. The full charges were, check this, 17 counts of causing or inciting a child, aged 13 to 15 to engage in sexual activity with no penetration. 10 counts of causing a child aged 13 to 15 to watch or look at an image of sexual activity. 7 counts of causing or inciting a girl aged 13 to engage in sexual activity with penetration. 5 counts of distributing an indecent photograph or pseudo-photograph of a child. 4 counts of making an indecent photograph or pseudo-photograph of a child. 2 counts of causing or inciting a girl aged under 13 to engage in sexual activity with no penetration. 2 counts of causing or inciting a girl aged under 13 to engage in sexual activity with penetration. 1 count of possessing an extreme pornographic image or images portraying an act which threatened life. Detective Constable Mark Tiffany of Greater Manchester Police's Sexual Crime Unit said, Berry is cruel and a manipulative bully who built false trust with his victims before pressuring and threatening them into doing as he asked. He's a selfish and calculated predator who has abused these young girls for his own personal gratification. I want to reassure the people of Greater Manchester that this type of sinister behaviour is completely unacceptable and will not be tolerated. Tackling child exploitation is a top priority for Greater Manchester Police, and we will do everything within our power to keep our children safe. I can only hope that Berry's time behind bars gives him the time he needs to reflect on his depraved actions. I would like to take this opportunity to stress that whilst the online world can bring lots of positive opportunities, those opportunities can be abused by some. Sexual abuse can have a devastating impact on children, and it is important that you report any suspicious activity, no matter how minor you may think, to the police immediately. And then it goes on with some helplines and stuff, saying Greater Manchester Police is nationally recognised as a good model of practice in support of terms of services available to victims. And if you click on the link and you scroll to the bottom, there are numbers for countless organisations, rape crisis confidentiality support teams, St Mary's Sexual Assault Referral Centre. You can also contact Greater Manchester Police on 101, or refer yourselves to the St Mary's Sexual Assault Referral Centre if you do not want to make a police report, etc., etc. Now, the reason that I've covered this is news, guys, so it's a confirmed thing. He's obviously now been jailed. It sounds like he was going guilty, or it's just taken him a long time to catalogue the images, and then obviously bring the charges and everything. So obviously this goes back to 2019, and he's now been convicted just last week. As someone that was sexually abused when I was young, right, and I spent time as a paedophile hunter as well. I've done security on paedophile stings on a couple of them, 11 to be exact. The damage that this does, like I've said, the first point I want to make straight off the bat is, if you are a parent of a child, or you are a teenage child growing up under the age of 16, the way that the internet is in this day and age, right? Children are far more technical than I was when I was a pre-teen, if you will. And we live in this world with social media and Instagram and Snapchat and this Kick messaging app, and people can hide behind fake accounts and everything like that, right? And what it is, in layman's terms, a sexual predator can be in your home without you even knowing. And what I mean by that is, your child might be on Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, Kick. You don't know. A lot of parents don't check their children's devices, and they should. Now, a sexual predator, paedophile, doesn't have to physically be there, does it? Look at this depraved case. Look at this guy, right? The way the internet is, a sexual predator can be in your child's bedroom with them in their phone, in their device, tapping them up, blackmailing them, exploiting them. The thing is, what annoys me, all children are innocent, right? But these people seem to target vulnerable people, vulnerable children. It states there was a girl that was getting beaten by her stepdad, right? They always seem to target vulnerable people, and when they don't get what they want, these cowards, these people with nothing about them, what they do, they start turning to blackmail and intimidation, right? Extremely dangerous individual, living at home with his mum and dad on Bannerman Avenue in Prestwich. Obviously, he's not there anymore. He's in prison, 13 years. Well, he got 10 years. He said 3-year top up with his license. 10 years in prison physically. Absolutely depraved. The damage it does to children, guys, and I'm talking through my own experiences here, is astronomical. It doesn't matter if you've been abused 1,000 times, once, 10 times. Abuse is abuse. And the damage it does is lifelong. Now, a lot of people turn to drink, a lot of people turn to drugs, a lot of people self-harm. My outlet for what I went through was anger. I suffered, I was shamed. I've still never spoken to the police. I'm anti-police anyway, through my own reasons. As you know, I'm a former prisoner, so I'm anti-police. I've never gone to the police with anything. I've just lived it. And if anyone's suffering or going through this, please, you don't have to contact me. You can contact the police, speak to friends or family. Don't suffer in silence. Don't be shamed by it. You've done nothing wrong. They'll tell you, these paedophiles, they'll tell you it's your little secret. It's not your secret, it's their secret, because if it comes out, they'll end up in prison like this scumbag. extremely dangerous individual, highly manipulative, dangerous. And like I've said, the damage it does to children. Like I said, one girl, he even got her to get her twin sister involved and was telling them to carry out sex acts on each other. Penetration, no penetration, inciting them, distributing. He also had 5,000 child abuse images on his devices, which were separate to what he'd amassed from these children, because that's what they are. Highly dangerous, sexual desire. And when he did he probably said, oh, I didn't get any sexual gratification from it. Absolute nonsense, right? These people are highly dangerous. And do you know what the worst thing of it is, right? For the most part, like I said, when I was in Strange Ways, you don't come into contact with a paedophile, right? But when you're at Forest Bank, there's that many of them in the system. There's 2 wings at Forest Bank, H2 and one of the C wings that house sex offenders, right? There's that many in the system that they often overspill into general population, running a regime called DNU, do not unlock, or DNO, do not open. And you might, if you're on a wing, you might think, oh, why are they not let out? Or they're on own protection, they're on basic, right, where they're only getting out for an hour a day, half an hour in the morning, half an hour in the evening. They're eating separate to the other prisoners, right? And that's how they end up in, like, so chances are they're on protection wings, VP wings, vulnerable prisoners. They're vulnerable in the sense that they'd be attacked. Not contrary to popular belief, the VP wings or vulnerable prisoners wings, bacon wings, beast wings as they call them in Scotland, it doesn't just house sex offenders. You get deadheads on there, gang members, former prison officers, former police officers, people with severe mental health, people that go on own protection. If they're trying to get off the wing, they can go on own protection on the wings, general population, or they can ask to go on to protection. But most of these offenders are protected. But I'm going to do another story about 2 prisoners who disemboweled a paedophile at Franklin Prison, which is a Category 8 prison up in the northeast. The damage it does to victims of child sexual abuse. Like I said, people might think that child sexual abuse is just physical, right? It's not. This exact behaviour, this exact case here shows you that it's not. And like I've said, how scary is that? That this man was in 15, 16 girls' houses, right? 16 different girls' houses, right? Abusing them on their devices, and their parents were absolutely clueless. The way that the way that online grooming goes, a paedophile, a sex offender, could be in your child's bedroom with your child, not physically, via the phone, and you don't even know about it. And that's not a bad, shameful thing on the parents or anything like that. It's the way that the culture is. You can't keep up to date with what the kids are doing. They're here, there, they're everywhere. A lot of parents are getting on now. They're not. You've got younger parents, you've got older parents. They might not be technical savvy, so they don't know how to really use apps and things like that. There are apps out there where you can like pretty much copy your children's apps onto your phone, so you can view any time of day when you're at work, whether you're at home, whether you're on the toilet, and you can check the apps that your children are on from your phone because it's linked to their device. But the damage is lifelong, guys. Sexual abuse, people develop mental health issues, self-harm, start turn to drink, start turn to drugs, eating disorders, personality disorders, self-harm, suicide attempts, and sadly and tragically, God bless those people that have sadly sought suicide as a way out. For me, this guy, right, yeah, he's been sentenced to 10 years. But like I said, he doesn't do 10 years. Right? He'll end up going before the parole board and stuff like that. And like I said, though, through covering all these nonces and paedophiles, right, I covered a story a few years ago about the sex offender treatment program, the SOTP, right, which is something they did in prison apparently. And there was an interview on Radio 4 or something, and 2 paedophiles spoke to the radio station from the prison, and they said the course actually aroused us. There's like a hot chair in the room, like imagine like a hot seat, should be the electric chair, but it's not. And they put a paedophile in this chair, and all the other paedophiles asking why he did it and stuff like that, and what he felt like when he was doing it. And do you know what happened? These 2 paedophiles admitted that they got sexually aroused by the man, the paedophile, talking about what he'd done to children. That has now been discredited and it's been gone, and they replaced it with, I think it's called Horizon or something. The facts are, as a former prisoner, I will tell you straight, you cannot rehabilitate a sex offender, right? You cannot. This man, right, and let me explain to you, and I've said it 1,000 times, right? If you go to prison attracted to men, sexually attracted to men, you will leave sexually attracted to men. If you go to prison sexually attracted to women, you will leave prison sexually attracted to women. If you go to prison with a sexual interest in children, like this guy, right, you will leave with a sexual interest in children. It's a mental health thing. You can't control it. You can't rehabilitate them. And what I'm going to say to you now, I hope this makes sense to people. If you go to prison, say that they don't have access, they can't gain access to an illegal mobile phone, right? They can buy pornography on the canteen, but it'll be 18 and over. So that's not going to do anything for them. When you're interested in pre-teens, right, you are... A woman could be 20 years old, naked, boob job, lay on a bed naked. It wouldn't do anything for a paedophile. They get off on kids, the vulnerability of them and things like that, the innocence of them, the age, no boobs, no pubes, or you understand what I'm saying, right? So say they don't have a mobile phone in prison, they don't have access to an illegal mobile phone. The longer they're in prison, they've got sexual urges. Sexual urges. This guy's going to do however many years, right? He's going to do years, right, in prison. When he's in prison, his body's producing testosterone. He's got needs. And like I said, unless he's got a mobile phone or a dongle or a plug-in or something illegal that he gets that he can view these images on, these child abuse images, he's going to be in prison for years with no sexual, he might be able to masturbate and everything, but the images that he craves, he can't get hold of. So what I'm saying to you, the longer that goes on and it builds up and it builds up and it builds up over those years, then that paedophile that is sexually attracted to children, as disgusting as that is, that's when they go on to reoffend, because you're free then, you're free. And it's like, wow, right, I'm on license, yeah. I'm on the sex offenders register, right? The police might have to turn up at my address, and I can't delete my cookies memories and my browser memory and all this browsing history, right? But this is when they go on to reoffend, right? I've done paedophile hunting for a very short time, guys, as security. Like I said, I don't do it anymore, but I did 11 stings, right? And one of the guys that I work with, he caught the same paedophile 2 or 3 times. I went on a sting and we caught the same guy for the second time by the same team. I was on the first sting, but it was the second time they caught him. And this guy had been to prison. What I'm saying to you, they can't help themselves. So these paedophiles, right, like I said, this one's not done it via a paedophile hunting thing. He's just an out-and-out paedophile. But when they're in prison for years and years and years, that sexual urge builds up. Then they're released, and that's when the restraints off. They get the mobile. Well, his mobile phone's going to be destroyed now on devices and stuff, but he'll get a new mobile phone. He'll get a smartphone, right? And these people should not be allowed access to phones that can access the internet. They should not be allowed. But then they'd probably say, "Oh, my human rights! I can't. I need to view. I need to go online, and I can watch pornography." Obviously, they'd probably blag it, and then they'd end up watching child abuse. These people, you cannot rehabilitate them. The fact is, why should this man be released? Why should he be released? Because the fact is, unfortunately, when you're in prison, prison doesn't work. I don't care what you're in prison for. Prison simply doesn't work. Prison creates more problems for society than it ultimately solves, right? And when it comes to paedophiles, for me, they are a lost cause. You cannot rehabilitate them at all. The only way you can rehabilitate a sex offender is a bullet to the back of the brain or a 1-foot rope off a 6-foot drop. You cannot rehabilitate them. They should never be allowed out of prison. They should be castrated physically, chemically, whatever. Not even chemically, physically, right? You can't use what you've not got. But this is the thing. This is the problem, guys. These paedophiles, right, are everywhere. Like I said, God bless all those paedophile hunting teams out there. This, like I said, paedophile hunter is not relevant to this story. But this guy, highly dangerous, highly manipulative, doing everything, blackmail to like I say, offering money, to lure and stuff like that. And then when it didn't go his way, he started to use intimidation and blackmail. We will release these videos and these pictures. Highly dangerous, highly manipulative, a predator in every sense of the word. I hope his family have cut ties with him, because like I said, the family could still live on that street, which is local. Well, ish. So yeah, I'm going to leave it there, guys. Let me know what you think about the video in the comment section below. This guy's a dirty pervert. Let me know what you think. Like, comment, subscribe. Cody out.